We got a critical move coming for crypto here, and I'm going to be talking to you guys about this pattern that is on Bitcoin charts that I've been talking about for quite some time. And if this pattern is looking likely to break to the upside, or are we going to be seeing more downside for Bitcoin? And why are we talking about Bitcoin is because Bitcoin is the driver of this crypto market. If you guys are new to this market, you guys must know that. It is a fact. If Bitcoin has more room to pump, so will a lot of these altcoins here. However, if Bitcoin dumps from here, that's not going to be looking good for a lot of these altcoins as we are seeing a sea of red here today with the altcoins. I am long on quite a bit of the altcoins here, so my opinions on these markets on crypto as a whole is still bullish at this time. I have made quite a few bullish arguments that I think are still intact. Despite these more volatile times, but these are just my opinions and not financial advice like the entirety of this video, and you guys should form your own opinions and strategies. What I'm seeing here for Bitcoin is, like I said, it has broken down from this huge bearish pattern, okay? It is fighting for its life right now at the daily 200 SMA because if we lose that, the next support we could be looking at would be about that 103,000, and I frankly don't expect that to be very strong support because that's basically where the weekly 50 SMA is at. And we have already tapped the 50 SMA. This will be the third time in this trend, right? So I don't expect that to be very strong support. Um, the breakdown target for this rising wedge pattern is going to be close to 80,000. Could we avoid a steep breakdown to that target? Let's take a look. Okay, so for Bitcoin here, I have also added that if we don't break above this upper trend line here, this could form some type of a falling wedge scenario, which also kind of confirms the bearish scenario here where we could potentially go down further. On this daily time frame here, we are still seeing a potential higher low though at this level that we're at. And if we are able to hold a higher low, then the next logical move is a higher high. So very important that Bitcoin holds above a higher low, if not at least a double bottom here at about that 107,000 level range, okay? There are quite a bit of bullish divergence scenario ideas here on this daily time frame as well. So let's see if that could potentially give Bitcoin a good bounce here. But I expect more volatility within this range before a decisive move, right? Either we break to the upside here. This is going to be the key trend line to be looking for. If not, we could potentially be looking at more downside scenarios here. I'll be updating you guys on the charts on a daily basis. Now, we're also going to be taking into news as well, some crypto and economics news. Obviously, yesterday I've been talking about yesterday, which was a huge day on at the Federal Reserve, and they have decided to cut the rates by 25 basis points. However, looking at some of the comments and the press conference by Jerome Powell, he said that the rate cut, December rate decision is not set in stone. I think that is what the markets are a little bit nervous about, okay? Because if you guys been following my channel, you guys know that I keep track of the CME Watch tool, which has been very accurate, okay, in predicting a Fed rate cut or a Fed rate decision. But these probabilities do change, right? With new data and events that come out. And after yesterday's FOMC meeting, we are looking at about just right over 70% chance of a Fed rate cut here for the next meeting that's happening on December 10th. Okay, this is a big decrease from before the FOMC press conference that we were looking at about, I think, almost 100%. So I think this is what the markets are nervous about, right? Based on the tone of Jerome Powell's press conference yesterday. Okay, so we're also going to be taking a look into a few altcoin setups as well later in this video, which will include AI16Z. Okay, I know some of you guys have brought up to me that AI16Z will be migrating to ELYZA. I have not been able to find a set date for that migration for the bigger exchanges. Okay, so I am basically I have typed in Google when will AI16Z be delisted, right? But I have not exactly gotten a solid answer that seems to be accurate. Okay, this one says AI16Z perpetual futures. Okay, so it doesn't really give me a good answer here, right? On MEXC, let's say, because that's a pretty big exchange, right? So I am not getting any recent news that is accurate here. Okay, about AI16Z. If you guys know anything about delisting of AI16Z, let me know in the comment section below. But until I see that this coin is delisted, or unless I get a further update on here, I'm able to find a further update on here, I will continue to bring you guys updates on technical analysis of AI16Z if enough of you guys want to see it. We're also going to be taking a look into Terra Luna Classic as well as DIA USD. See what's happening in these coins since the last time I've talked about them. So let's go ahead and dive into some news first before going into altcoin charts. Now, this is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin bears give 3 reasons why the bull market is over. Let's read this over because I am open-minded to both sides of the argument. One is to give myself a reality check and see if my arguments are still intact and consider if any of the arguments on the other side make sense. Now, let's go ahead and go over some key points. Key takeaways. Bitcoin's bearish MACD cross and engulfing candle on the 3-week charts signal a cycle top. Okay, I mean, I don't really keep track of the MACD, but I've been at cycle tops before. I've seen cycle tops before. First one was May 2021. Second one was about that November, December 2021. And what I can tell you about cycle tops is they come down very quickly. We don't hang out like 10% below the cycle top for a long time that we have seen with this Bitcoin cycle here. So to me, it doesn't feel like a cycle top. Okay. Now the next key point here is as market analysts suggest that 558 days post 2024 halving indicate that the Bitcoin bull cycle top is imminent. I mean, imminent is really a general term, okay? And also this 2024 halving, this bull cycle has not felt like a regular halving bull cycle like 2020, 2021. So could this bull cycle be different? I'm still betting my money on it. That's what I'm doing personally. So I also disagree with this key point here. But it says it's imminent. I mean, yeah, all cycles come to an end. Do you have a specific date on this? Okay, that's what I'm interested in. It doesn't seem like this key point does. Other analysts say Bitcoin price still has room to run with 180,000 still in the cards. I still do think that is in the cards based on what I'm seeing on the monthly RSI reading. Okay. We're still nowhere near FOMO levels as we have seen back in 2021, 2017. Okay, so that's why that's one of my technical analysis reasons why I'm still bullish on Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. Next one is by You Today. Selling Bitcoin now. Bitcoin price history suggests November is worst time to exit. It says Bitcoin is ending October at around 109,000 almost, reflecting a 4.5% monthly decline. While this percentage drop is not dramatic, it does interrupt the stability Bitcoin exhibited around the 6-figure mark throughout the first half of the year. Still, anyone considering selling right now should at least glance at the monthly performance heat map. So I know I've seen that heat map, which basically tells you the average returns during certain months. And yes, quarter four historically has been good for crypto and Bitcoin. So I think that's one of the key points that this analyst is making. If you guys are interested in reading any more of this news, it is in TradingView. If you guys don't have TradingView, you guys are trading blind. I highly suggest you guys get TradingView. Based on my 5+ years of experience in trading this market, I have a affiliate link in the video description section below. If you guys use my link to sign up, that supports my channel. So yeah, I mean, regardless if November is going to be a bullish month or Q4 if it's going to continue to be a bullish month or not, I still think most of my bullish arguments are still intact. Let's go ahead and go to the next piece here, which is by Cointelegraph. Bitcoin risks 20 to 30% drop as crypto markets liquidate $1.1 billion in 24 hours. Yeah, I still do think a steep drop is in the cards, as I have shown you guys, as that breakdown from that bearish rising wedge is still in play. Okay, so we are not out of the woods yet. It's a critical point for crypto right now. Key points. Bitcoin revisits the bottom of its local range in fresh dive water. In fresh dive after the Federal Reserve interest rate cuts. Traders betting on upside gets punished with long liquidations nearing $1 billion. A deeper route for stocks could mean Bitcoin price losses of 30%. Yes. So I do agree with this third key point here because I've been pointing out to you guys that stocks are very correlated with Bitcoin. Except recently, because even though stocks have been on the, we have seen more upside with the S&P 500, but not so much with Bitcoin. Okay, so but still, I mean, there has been historically pretty good correlation between the two. So also very important to be paying attention to the S&P 500 charts as well. Let's go to the next piece here, which is by Cointelegraph again. Fed signals end of QT. What does it mean for Bitcoin price? So QT is quantitative tightening, and let's read some more into this right now. So what they're saying is, what this piece is saying that the Fed is signaling the end of actually tightening the money reserve. Okay, to put it in a way, right? Because quantitative tightening is basically where they are actually pulling money out of the markets, where they're actually selling assets and pulling money out of the markets, okay? But the opposite of quantitative tightening is quantitative easing, where they're actually printing money and buying assets from the markets, so the markets actually get more liquidity, okay? That's my understanding. Which is good for the markets because you're going to see more liquidity into the markets, and more money into the markets is good for, I mean, it's good for the markets. Now, key takeaways. The Fed ending QT and reinvesting in T-bills quietly boosts liquidity. Yes. Analysts are divided over how this affects Bitcoin price, with bulls anticipating a $180,000 top. Okay. So yes, I mean I still think that's also bullish for the markets as well. An end of QT. Next one is by You Today. The battle begins. Michael Saylor reacts to Bitcoin price crash. Okay, so let's read a little bit into this. Michael Saylor says Bitcoin battle begins. The battle begins. He wrote in an X post. Let's go ahead. Well, I guess there's not really too much to it. If you guys want to read his Twitter, you guys can. But I'm going to go ahead and get into the charts here. All right, before we run out of time. So let's go ahead and go to AI16Z first. Okay. AI16Z currently trading below 6 cents right now, down quite a bit today. What could be happening with this market? Let's take a look into the weekly time frame because I've been pointing out this pattern to you guys. Now I have exited out of my AI16Z position. It was a leverage position, so it was not a position that I was going to hold on to for long, right? Let me go ahead. So this is a falling wedge pattern. falling wedges have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. AI16Z looks like it's trying to break out to the upside right now based on this weekly candle. Now, if this breakout is successful, the price target would be about 57 cents price target. Okay. Now, price targets are estimates only. There could be more, there could be less. A lot of which does depend on what happens with Bitcoin. If Bitcoin starts dumping from here, these altcoin setups, they're not going to matter very much. Okay, so let's see if AI16Z here is successful. Let's take a look into a smaller time frame here. 4-hour time frame. Falling wedge pattern. Okay, if this falling wedge pattern breaks out to the upside by this point, for example, the price target would be about 7.7 cents price target. Let's see if this one breaks to the upside. Now, even though these patterns have a higher chance of breaking in one direction, also have to mind the smaller chance of it breaking to the opposite direction, okay? Because nothing in this market is for certain. We're just talking about probabilities here. Let's go ahead and go to Terra Luna Classic. Terra Luna Classic here, I talked about a falling wedge pattern that's also on the weekly time frame. Now, Terra Luna Classic is trying to hold above about 0.000425 here. Okay, if it loses this level, there could be quite a bit more downside here. Okay, it is in the mid, almost in the midsection of this falling wedge pattern. Let's see if it's actually let's zoom in and see if it has what it could be doing here. Okay, if it could give us any more hints on what it could be doing. 4-hour time frame. This is a falling wedge pattern. Falling wedges have a higher chance of breaking to the upside. If it breaks to the upside by this point, for example, price target would be about 0.000054 almost. Okay. Now let's go back to the weekly time frame. Okay. If Terra Luna Classic is able to break out of this huge falling wedge pattern here, the price target would still be about 0.00030 zeros and 30. Okay, about there. That is the price target if it breaks out by this point, for example. Okay, so that is something to be keeping an eye out for Terra Luna Classic AI16Z on the higher time frames, just the weekly time frame, and even down to lower time frames like the 4-hour time frame. Let's go ahead and go to DIA USD and see what's happening with this coin, because there has been a surge here, but it is dumping right now. Okay, weekly time frame. I want to add from my update last time that there was also a falling wedge pattern that I did not see. Okay, there has been patterns I've been talking about on these markets that I may have invalidated, okay, because the price action either have invalidated those patterns or have met the price targets. Now, there was also a falling wedge pattern. Price target would have been about 97 cents, okay. DIA went all the way up to about 88 cents, okay, so there is still target left, and this breakout is still valid because the price action is still above this upper trend line of the pattern it broke out from. I mentioned last time there was a double bottom pattern, I think. Yep, a double bottom pattern that basically broke to the upside, and that did, okay? Since then, it has been on a pullback, a dump, more like, as that was, let's see what kind of resistance did it hit, okay? Let's see what type of resistance did it hit. It hit this resistance zone here at about 88, 89 cents, as you guys can see. I don't see any moving averages there as serving as resistance, but there were candle resistance there, right? If you just line up the candles, you'll see. Now let's go to the 4-hour time frame because we're running out of time here. And there is a potential falling wedge pattern that could be forming where the 4-hour 200 SMA is at. Okay, So this basically wraps it up for this video. Let me know if you guys want to continue seeing any more of these coins by dropping a like, comment, subscribe. See you on the next one.